It's Sunday. You are welcome to yet another Yapping with me, Fellonius the Wizard. Today I'm going to talk about castles, or should I say castles? I'm not totally sure, because there are several different types of buildings that are called castles, but they are not really castle as such. And then we have this thing that it's mostly in Europe we have castles. The only castles I was thinking about in America should be forts. You have Fort Sumter and all that. We have a lot of forts, and they were built like a castle. So yeah, that is some sort of a castle. You can have that. I think you should have that as a good thing to think about. But castles. When you think of a castle, you think of a stone building that could withstand horses and lances and swords and, well, not much more, because if you do a catapult or perhaps a nuclear bomb, they won't stand for anything. Now, the most of that stone has been teared down in some cases. There are several castles that has been disappeared throughout Europe because they needed the stone. You can't just go and mine stone all the time when there's a whole thing standing there. Just tear it down and use the stone again. People has done that. People has also saved one or two rooms, made a house of it, and so on. So yeah, castles are good for everything, even nowadays. And then there are several castles, at least throughout Europe, that are so splendid, so big, so grand throughout the rivers and all that, that you just marvel at the wonder. And they are not wondrous. That is, people are not saying that they are wonders. But what I want to talk about is something completely different, because in Sweden we call something else a castle. A castle in Sweden might be one of two or three things. There are castles down south that is built mostly about Danish, and they are more a stronghold. That is, there is one tower, and it's a bit big tower, perhaps like, I don't know, 10 yards by 10 yards, and that's it. It's not big. There's only one entrance, and that entrance is just a wooden door. There is no moat. There is nothing around it. It's just a big tower in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And it could withstand a lot of stuff during the 1400s and so on. There was a lot of wars between Sweden and Denmark and Norway, by the way. And most of it is Denmark wanted Sweden, Sweden wanted Denmark, Sweden took Norway. Oh, you can read that somewhere else. Further north, you can find something that is more like a castle. If you go on the east coast, up around Stockholm, and there you can see something that is called castles, but actually don't look like they look like big stone masons, mansions. They are more like a house that is built big. There's no towers, perhaps one or two, but they're not big. There's no defenses around it. There is no slits where you can fire arrows through and such. There's no moat, of course not. There is some that has a moat, but there are not that many. And they are not more of this is where the count is living, and the count is now residing over this type of land. You should just shut up, because you cannot attack him anyway. But that's not really a castle. When I think of a castle, it should have been a lot of stuff. You need a courtyard, you need towers and stuff. So, finally, we are closing in on the Norwegian border here in Sweden, and you go up to something called Bohus Fästning. Now, that is not a castle as such, because it's actually a stronghold as well, but it looks like a real castle. You have the courtyard, you have the moat, you have several different types of towers that are looking out over the big rivers. There are two rivers that is actually joining down there, and this was a stronghold that anyone wanted. The Danish wanted it when they were on the west coast. The Norwegian took it. The Swedes took it back. There were so many fights over it. And you can still go around in that castle. You can see the dungeons and all that. That is the only real castle for me that is existing in Sweden. Further north, if you go on the northern Sweden, I don't think you can find one building that will even remotely judge you as a castle. You might see very nice churches, because they can build churches all over the place up there. Stations, there are several stations that looks really, really nice, and so on. And of course the universities and that. But castles? Nah, not really. So, what is a castle for you? I mean, I say moat, I say courtyard, I say towers, aplenty, thank you very much. And I see very thick stone walls. That's what I say. What do you say? And don't forget about the lavatory. You need that in a castle as well. Something has to go out when you just feed the people. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye for today.